Confidence is a scam. If you're waiting to feel ready before you take action, you're going to be waiting forever. The most successful people on earth don't lack self doubt. They just outwork it so aggressively that their anxiety can't keep up with their calendar. It's time to stop trying to cure your insecurity and start out producing it. The velocity over validation strategy. 10 frameworks to outwork self doubt. Number 1. The 0-day, non negotiable contract. Self doubt thrives in the gaps left by inactivity. A 0 day is a day where you allow yourself to do absolutely nothing toward your goal, which gives your inner critic room to breathe. By committing to an unbreakable rule, even if it's just 5 minutes of writing, one email, or filming one clip, you ensure that momentum never resets to zero, starving doubt of the stillness it needs to grow. Number 2. Shifting from the masterpiece trap to the factory model. When you treat every video, project, or piece of content like it has to be your magnum opus, self doubt paralyzes you. Instead, view your creative process like an assembly line. Your job isn't to create a perfect piece of art every time, your job is to keep the factory running. High volume naturally filters out the bad ideas and refines the good ones without emotional friction. Number 3. The inversion matrix for risk assessment. Doubt lies to you by exaggerating the consequences of failure. To break this, write down the absolute worst case scenario if your project completely bombs. Usually, the disaster is just a brief moment of embarrassment or a video with low views. When you realize the floor isn't as low as you think, the fear evaporates, freeing up your energy to just do the work. Number 4. Building an input to output firewall. Most self doubt is actually just imposter syndrome triggered by consuming too much of other people's perfect, curated success. Establish a strict 1-to-3 ratio. For every hour you spend consuming content or researching, you must spend 3 hours executing and creating. Guarding your mind from external comparison keeps your focus entirely on your own lane. Number 5. The 24-hour post-mortem rule. When something goes wrong, a project fails, an upload tanks, or you get harsh criticism, self-doubt wants you to sit and stew in it for weeks. Implement a hard 24-hour rule. You are allowed to feel disappointed, dissect the data, and analyze what went wrong for exactly one day. The moment the clock hits 24 hours, the case is closed, and you immediately pivot to the next task. Number 6. Separating the identity from the asset. The biggest mistake is tying your self-worth to the quality of your output. If a project fails, you are not a failure, the asset just didn't work. By viewing your work as external assets, like pieces on a chessboard rather than extensions of your soul, you remove the emotional high stakes that cause self-doubt to paralyze your execution. Number 7. The micro-quota method for brain fog. On days when the self-doubt is so heavy that staring at the screen feels physically painful, throw out your massive to-do list. Replace it with ridiculous, borderline embarrassing micro-quotas. Tell yourself you only have to write 50 words, edit 10 seconds of timeline, or clean one corner of your desk. 90% of the time, breaking the initial friction triggers the flow state. Number 8. Exploiting the quantity lead principle. In any creative field, your taste is usually better than your actual skill level early on, which causes massive doubt. The only way to close the gap between how good you want to be and how good you actually are is sheer volume. You have to outproduce your bad work. By focusing entirely on hitting a high number of repetitions, quality becomes an inevitable byproduct. Number 9. Treating motivation as a byproduct, not a prerequisite. Amateurs wait for motivation and clarity before they start working, Professionals work so that motivation and clarity show up. Action is the cause of confidence, not the effect. When you accept that you will feel doubtful, tired, and uninspired while starting, you stop treating those feelings as red lights and start treating them as standard background noise. Number 10. The velocity arbitrage mindset. In a world where everyone is overthinking, overanalyzing, and waiting for the perfect moment, speed is your greatest competitive advantage. The person who can fail, learn, and launch a new attempt in 3 days will always lap the person who spends 3 months trying to make one attempt perfect. Make speed your primary metric, and let execution outrun your anxiety. At the end of the day, your self doubt is entirely dependent on your stillness. It feeds on the hours you spend staring at a blank screen, overanalyzing data, and waiting for a feeling of certainty that is never going to come. You cannot think your way into a confident life. You can only build it out of the evidence you create with your own two hands. So, stop giving your fears a vote in your schedule. Turn off the metrics, close the research tabs, and put your head down. Which brings me to my final question for you. What is the one task you've been avoiding all week out of fear? And are you ready to go start working on it right now? And do not forget to like and subscribe our channel. Have a good day.